I am Gregory, and this is Pensane. Yes, this is a long overdue video. These are pens I purchased, used, from Ginger Peachy Pen. Yes, a while back, quite a while back now. She was selling some of her pens. I think she's sold most of them now, most of the pens that she was putting on sale. And there were a couple I was very intrigued by. So first up, I'm a huge fan of Monteverde. And this is a model that I believe is discontinued, as far as I know. So this is the Monteverde Artista Crystal demonstrator, as you can see. Here's the nib. And this is in a medium nib. Yeah. As you can see in there, has a cartridge converter. I can't help but be reminded of the Monza ID, which I have had horrible luck with those. I've had 3 or 4 of them, and either the nibs are really bad or there's some flaw with the pen. Really, as the only model of Monteverde pens that I've had issues with. So this is reminiscent of that, but it has some qualities to it that are much more attractive, you might say. Both the cap and the body are slightly shapely. They're not just cylinders. Kind of a plain finial, but a finial nonetheless. Rather nice, shapely clip. Yeah. So, and I have to say, this is far better than any of the Monza IDs I've used. Yeah. Then, this is a pen I've been very curious about because, first of all, it's from a company that no longer exists, Woodshed Pen Company. And something just drew my eye to this color. It's a cream, and hopefully you can make out. It's a very nice, shimmery material. Yeah, I really like this color. Like a yellow leaning cream, and it's just simple, cylindrical, and I believe as she was selling it, it had a medium nib, and she suggested that she could put a broad nib on it, so I took her up on that. And I'm so glad I did. Yeah, so let's get a closer look at the nib there. I'm not sure what brand of nib this is. But it's broad. I love broad. So yeah, this is a gorgeous pen. Now, I do have to say the material, although it's quite firm, but I get the impression of it of it being fragile, but I think that's an incorrect impression, but because it's sturdy. Yeah. But anyway, there is that one. As you see, they're virtually this, in fact, they're almost identical. I think the Woodshed pen cream, we'll call it, is just a hair under the Monteverde Artista crystal. Just a hair under. And then for comparison, I guess we're lining them up this way. We have Kaweco Sport and Alami Safari. So that kind of gives you an idea of the size there. Yeah. But you want to see these right. I fairly recently started a new CVS caliber notebook. Just kind of a scratch notebook for, you know, testing inks and yeah, that sort of thing. I mistakenly got the one that has perforated pages, which has 30 fewer sheets than the one without perforated, for I think roughly the same price. So that was a mistake on my part. I do prefer wide ruled. Yeah, so happy to be using a new one. And it was kind of exciting that I pulled up the other one. All right, so we'll start with the Monteverde Artista crystal with a medium nib. It does post rather nicely. Now, I will mention it has a slick chrome section. So that would be one drawback of this pen. But it hasn't proven to be necessarily bad at this point, but I think I do tend to grip this one more a little bit on the threads there, so that helps. It is a pretty dry combination, and sadly I had other ink on my fingers, so that's not it's a little tainted there, but yeah. So it's a red. It's a good red. It's not my perfect red, but it's pretty darn good. I think it perhaps has too much shading for me as far as red goes. Again, that's one of those colors that I don't like shading as much. Yeah. So that is that one. And then we'll move to the Woodshed Pen Company cream. You could even call it like a cream shimmer, because it does have a shimmer to it. Okay, and there's that one. This is a very, very dark brown, especially coming out of a broad nib. The nib itself has considerable feedback. I do prefer a very smooth nib over one with feedback. So that's a little disappointing, but perhaps I can smooth it, or maybe I have another nib that I can swap it out. Yeah, but a very nice combo. I think it goes well coming out of a cream pen. Yeah, so very, very pleased. I'm sure this will get inked up often, especially if I can either smooth the nib or get an even smoother nib in there. But there you go. Pens from Ginger Peachy Pens. Again, the Monteverde Artista Crystal with medium nib, and the Woodshed Pen Company Cream with the broad nib. All right, well, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time.